I am here to present the Trailblazer Award. There are no nominees. There is only a Trailblazer. What do we mean by Trailblazer in reference to country, Americana, or grassroots? Well, what we mean is someone who can see through the fetid, termite-infested forestry dreck, such as the Oak Ridge Boys, and carve a freshly planted trail through which grassroots music can once again reclaim the earth. I have no idea what I meant by what I just said. However, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Boyd. Yes, yeah, I blew it. Oh, I let the cat out of the bag. It's Joe Boyd. Anyway, not yet. Sit down, Joe. Sit down. You didn't jump out of your seat when you were producing Pink Floyd, did you, huh? You stayed in your fucking booth and got it right. So just cool your jets, Joe. What links Pink Floyd, Nick Drake, REM, 10,000 Maniacs, June Tabor, Fairport Convention, Richard Thompson? Joe, incredible, thank you very much. Incredible sound, thank you. That is exactly the words I was looking for. An incredible sound. Ladies and gentlemen, so many times when we listen to music, we don't bother to read the liner notes because they don't fucking exist anymore. Gone are the days when you could purchase an album and lie on the bed and know everything about the band, everything about the performer, right down to the producer, the sound engineer. Those days are gone. These people don't get the respect they deserve anymore, but they are the ones who make the sound. Who make the sound, ladies and gentlemen. The first few times I listened to what used to be called English folk music, I was baffled. I first purchased a Steel Eye Span album because I thought it was a Steely Dan tribute album. And yet, the more I listened to it, the more I realized that there is a true link, because what you always hear about country music, oh, it's Scottish, it's Irish. No, there is a tremendous British influence, ladies and gentlemen, but because it's always had its own strengths, it doesn't get the respect it deserves in Americana music. But Joe Boyd took a band like Fairport Convention and made them one of the greatest bands that I personally have ever listened to. And that goes for Richard Thompson. That also goes for Billy Bragg, for Robin Hitchcock. These are all I'm just name dropping my personal favorites, but Joe Boyd has been responsible for so many of them, ladies and gentlemen. Those are his achievements. He's had a few setbacks. He worked on the soundtrack for A Clockwork Orange, fair enough, he got that one right. He also produced dueling banjos for the film Deliverance. Yeah, except for the fact that they're not both banjos. It's actually a guitar and a banjo dueling. All right, we'll give him that one. Fine. Anybody can make a mistake after many long hours in a recording booth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you, and on a purely anecdotal basis, in 1965, when Bob Dylan went electric, if any of you are still pissed off about it, well, now's your chance to get back at him. He was in charge of the sound. Please welcome the winner of the Trailblazer Award, Joe Boyd.
I first came to these shores 55 years ago with a gospel and blues package led by Muddy Waters and Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And at that time, both of those artists were almost unknown in America, except in their own corner of the music scene. And the first night at the Colston Hall in Bristol, there were queues of teenagers outside waiting for Muddy Waters' autograph. And I decided, I'm going to stay here. this country likes the kind of music that I like. And I never regretted that decision. I've been still here after 55 years. 5 years after that, well, we know what happened after that, which was the British invasion. All the British blues aficionados went over to America and changed American music, and in so doing, changed the world's music. 5 years after that first time I came, I was working with Fairport Convention, and they'd had a tragic car accident. Martin Lamble had been killed, and they thought about breaking up. They weren't sure what they wanted to do, where they wanted to be, where they were going to go. And just at that moment, out came music from Big Pink by the band. And they all listened to this record, and what they got from it was, you should do something as British as what we're doing is American. Well, even though they were Canadians. And so they made Leaves and Leaf. And then 10 years after that, Ralph McTell came up to me at a festival somewhere and said that he'd been at a festival somewhere in America and run into Los Lobos. And they said to him, oh, do you know those guys, Fairport Convention? And he said, oh, yeah, they're friends of mine. He said, well, when you get back to England, tell them we owe them a lot for Leech and Leaf. Because before we heard that record, we were just an East LA band playing heavy metal. And that made us search for our roots. And this whole feedback loop of English music and American music has transformed the world, you know? And I think if it was left to just the Americans, speaking as an American myself, they take themselves too seriously, probably. It needs a little bit of British appreciation and input of eccentricity and cynical humor to keep the thing going. Anyway, I'm so glad to have been part of it all. Thanks so much to Bob Harris for all the support he's given over the years. And I was thinking of some of the other people over the years besides John Peel. For some reason, I was thinking tonight of Bernie Andrews. And people like that who played this music and played so many great things over the years. Anyway, thanks to everybody. Thanks. Good night.